Stellan, I can say in the most confidence, I absolutely loved the film. I watched it last night, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And it's so haunting as well. You must be so delighted with it. I'm
very pleased with it, yeah. It's a beautiful job, not only by the director, Marius Holst, and great cinematographer, John Andreas, but especially the boys. Their performances are incredible, I think.
Are you surprised by the talent on show amongst such young performers?
Not really. The director he scouted the countryside of Norway for a year and tried to find boys with troubled backgrounds because he wanted the real McCoy. He didn't want some ambitious, starstruck, well-fed, well-established boys to try to play those kids. So he set up camps and workshops all over Norway and worked with kids. And this was what he found. And that was one of the things that attracted me to the film, because the film in itself, the structure of it is pretty conventional, a jailbreak film, you know. But if you could get on that structure, that bone structure, which is conventional, if you could get some real life on it as the meat, then I thought it could be a very nice film. And the prospect of working with those boys, I mean, when you look in the eyes of them, you see the hardness that comes from a very difficult background, and you see the vulnerability behind it, and that was something I wanted to play with.
And as for yourself, I mean, obviously you've been in a few sort of fantasy films recently, like The Avengers and Thor, for example, but was it quite nice for yourself to get back into quite sort of gritty drama?
Yes, but I do that all the time. I go back and forth between the big Hollywood productions and the small independent films, and it's like different dishes on a smorgasbord. You wanna have it all. Unfortunately, it's hard to get the small films out there and get them seen enough. But I think this has a possibility to catch an audience. But of course, it's also that when you go from a $100 and $200 budget to a budget of maybe $4, $5, $6 million, what you gain is you lose the resources and you lose the comfort of a big production. But what you gain is more freedom for the director, because the director doesn't have a lot of bankers sitting on his shoulders all the time telling him what to do. Which means that the films usually become more personal, stronger, and also more character-driven, which for me as an actor is wonderful.
And as for your character, was it quite difficult to get into the head of someone who's, I don't know, can oversee and sort of foresee so much sort of cruelty in a sense?
What I tried to make him very modern and progressive for his time. And even if the structure, I mean, the scenes, he doesn't say, what he says and does is pretty cruel, but that is the system. That is not him. It's not his. He's not an evil person, and he's within him struggling with his ambition to be fair and create a very good functioning colony there, and reality, and also when he really lets down the boys after the sexual abuse thing, he betrays them, basically. And that is from social pressure, because if it was revealed that something like that, and at that time unspeakable, happened on the island, he would be disgraced socially, and his career would be over and everything. So cowardly, he tries to cover it up, and that's a big letdown.
And of course, this is all based on true events, but how much research did you have to do into not only your character, but just the story? I mean, did you go to, because Bastoy prison exists, did you travel there to sort of get a sense for the area?
No, today it is very Scandi prison. It's extremely comfortable. It's like a resort. The attitude towards punishment is very different in Scandinavia today than it was back then. So it wouldn't make much sense to go there. I read about it, of course, but what I always work more from the script than from background research, and my big concern was that it was important for me to make the oppressor that I am playing not an evil man, but like a function of a system. And that took a lot of balancing and some rewriting as well to get there. And the psychology of the character you have to sort of invent.
Was it a set of events that you'd heard of before, or was this all completely new to you?
Bastøy is, I'm Swedish and Bastøy is a Norwegian island, and in Norway it's quite famous. As a Swede I had no idea about it. But of course it wasn't anything unique. It was common at that time that children were treated like this and worse. And if you look at, I mean, pretty recently in Ireland, children were treated equally badly at the Catholic schools and homes for children.
Scandinavian cinema at the moment is so prominent over here in Britain. We've got so much, I mean, the likes of Headhunters and the whole sort of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series and Royal Affair, of course, recently. What do you think it is about Scandinavian cinema that's just so good at the moment? It's sort of becoming so accessible to sort of a worldwide audience.
I think one thing is of course that Scandinavian society has become more well known abroad, thanks to Henning Mankell, for instance, in his series, and the Millennium books that have been very successful. But it's also we have a good subsidized, very well subsidized climate for making films in Scandinavia, and a lot of the films you're mentioning are Danish, and the Danes have been. A lot of things happened in Denmark thanks to Lars von Trier when he created Zentropa, when he created Dogma, and showed the world that you can actually make anything. and that's created a new kind of freedom. There's a lot of directors coming out of Denmark. A lot of the TV series you see here are out of Denmark. But it's a pretty creative part of the world. I mean, also in fashion, in design, and music in many ways.
So my final question is just what's coming up for you now? Obviously, I have to ask, is Thor 2, is that started filming yet, and how's that sort of coming along?
It's coming. Tomorrow I'm leaving for Germany because I'll start a new film there called The Physician, with Tom Paine in the lead. And after that I will try to combine Thor 2, which starts in August and goes till December, till end of December. I'll try to combine that with Lars von Trier's next project, which is Nymphomaniac 1 and Nymphomaniac 2.
That sounds very Lars von Trier.
Very Lars von Trier. It's a porno film.
Yeah, there we go. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.